Sunshine Snacks.
That's the final whistle!
Fight for victory, a battle for supremacy.
Purple Rain inside the national.
He who lifts the crown will reign as all island kings.
Joy!
Kingston College versus Garvey Maceo in the Olivier Shield. The ultimate coronation. Live Saturday, 3 p.m. on CVM TV.
Jamaica, make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
The country's Prime Minister, Andrew Michael Holness, has accused the country's premier anti-corruption body, the Integrity Commission, of attacking his reputation. Why? This follows the publication by the Integrity Commission of a report in which it raises concern about a company which it says is linked to the Prime Minister, which has developed a townhouse complex in Beverly Hills in what it says is in clear violation of the building permits and of the blueprints approved by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. The Prime Minister says the property has nothing to do with me, and this is again an attempt to cause people to think less of me in my capacity as Prime Minister. We want to hear two perspectives today. We want to hear from the ruling JLP how they see this issue. We're also going to try to get a word from the opposition PNP about how they see this development. Strangely, the PNP has yet to issue a statement on the matter. This is Lead Story on this Wednesday. Let's start the show. Welcome to Lead Story on this Wednesday. The caption that you just saw said company associated with the PM is under IC scrutiny, and that is correct. But the Labour Rights and the Prime Minister are asserting that it's only the IC that is associating the company with the Prime Minister because they say the Prime Minister has nothing to do with Estate Bridge Holdings Limited. The Prime Minister himself says he has nothing to do with Estate Bridge Holdings Limited, saying so in a statement he issued on Tuesday evening. Well, context matters, and equally as important as context, facts. We have prepared a nugget to share with you, looking at what the issue is as we prepare to get into the discussion. So let's roll that package.
The dispute between Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Integrity Commission, IC, is deepening, with new allegations surrounding a Kingston townhouse development linked to the Prime Minister. The Integrity Commission yesterday tabled a report accusing Estate Bridge Limited, a company connected to Prime Minister Holness, of breaching building permits. The IC claims the development in Beverly Hills, Kingston, consists of four four-bedroom townhouses, despite approval from the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, for 4 two-bedroom units. Estate Bridge's directors include Norman Brown, a longtime associate of the Prime Minister. The IC has previously flagged Brown for alleged conflicts of interest, given his roles as chairman of the Housing Agency of Jamaica and the Urban Development Corporation, UDC, both government entities overseen by the Prime Minister. In the report, Director of Investigations Kevin Stevenson alleged the breaches were deliberate, a claim Estate Bridge has denied. The company stated that KSAMC inspections did not identify any violations and that amendments have been sought for what it described as minor layout changes during construction. The IC's report also named the project's contractor, Kennard Nesbeth, accusing him of aiding in the breaches and questioning the credibility of his statements during the investigation. The Prime Minister, who previously held shares in Estate Bridge through Imperium Investments Holding Limited, has denied any involvement. He stated he is no longer a director or shareholder in the company and raised concerns about the timing of the IC report, coinciding with his judicial review of a separate IC investigation. Adam Holness, the Prime Minister's son and a director of Estate Bridge, was also named in the report, but his specific involvement in the development was not detailed. This latest controversy comes on the heels of the Prime Minister being granted leave for judicial review regarding another IC report on his statutory declarations. The saga continues with familiar players but mounting complexities. What are the broader implications of these ongoing disputes? Will the public see any resolution soon? We'll of course explore these questions tonight on Lead Story.
Thank you very much, Nika, for that nugget prepared in consultation with our producer, Jonathan Atkins. A man representing the JLP's Communications Task Force. He's been busy in recent weeks. Marlon Morgan joins me on the program this evening. Good evening, sir. Marlon, you're muted. I see you speaking, but I'm not hearing you. I'm still not hearing you. I think your device may be muted. If you can adjust that. Are you hearing me now?
You hear me now?
Lovely, lovely. Yes, go ahead.
Excellent. So good evening to you, George, and good evening to the listeners.
Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so the Prime Minister has set his stall out, as he did in that statement he issued last evening. There was a statement issued on the JLP's letterhead under your hand earlier today talking about the issue. How does the JLP see the Prime Minister and this relationship with the Integrity Commission is perhaps the best question to ask you first up.
Well, the Prime Minister values the Integrity Commission as a commission of parliament and an entity that came about based on the governing Jamaica Labour Party having passed the Integrity Commission Act back in 2017. We would have established the Integrity Commission, and for successive years following its establishment, we have been providing appropriate levels of budgetary support, in many instances increased budgetary support to the entity. But just to indicate, we have had some incidents in recent times which would suggest and cause the Prime Minister, on good grounds, and persons like myself, observers like myself, and others in the Jamaica Labour Party, to be of the view that there is a witch hunt of sorts that is on. The Prime Minister appears to be targeted by the Integrity Commission, or at least agents at the elements within the Integrity Commission, and it does not bode well for the body politic or indeed for accountability in this country, because the Integrity Commission, I dare say, has now emerged as a very polarizing entity, and that cannot augur well for us and our democratic system of governance, George.
Okay, all right. You said that. The Integrity Commission says that its investigation was sparked by a complaint received July 10, to the extent that Mr. Holness was, it says, the owner of a property on which construction was being carried out contrary to the terms of the planning approval and building permit granted by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, and that Mr. Holness often requests the service from his architect to draw one blueprint, which was submitted to the KSAMC, and then do a second blueprint under which the construction would actually happen, and that this was done in respect of the Beverly Hills property. Was the Integrity Commission, you believe, fair to pursue the line of inquiry and then ultimately draw the conclusions it did?
The Integrity Commission was absolutely fair in pursuing the line of inquiry because it is mandated by statute so to do, and for law-abiding citizens like myself, we concur that a duly constituted and a competent authority, such as the Integrity Commission ought to act in pursuit and in discharge of its mandate. My point of departure is here. When the Integrity Commission, by way of its Director of Investigation, would have embarked on its investigation and determined at some point that the Prime Minister is not a director or a shareholder of this company, certainly not at the material point and time of his or her investigation, in this case his, because the DI is the person at the IC that undertook the investigation. It should be clear that the bane or the basis on which the investigation is being undertaken doesn't turn on Andrew Holness, but more so on Estate Bridge, a company that in a previous dispensation he had an interest in by way of being a shareholder, but in this case and at the germane point in time, he does not have an interest in this company. This company is in no way affiliated with him, and so it was essentially injurious or defamatory. Essentially, it serves to diminish the Prime Minister and the estimation of well-thinking Jamaicans for a framing of all of this, as we have seen in subsequent reportage in media, as somebody who was a principal in this company at the material point of these quote-unquote breaches.
Here's this question,
or alleged breaches, rather.
Here's this question, and the issue of material time becomes relevant, because the Commission says in the report here that one of the directors of Estate Bridge Holdings Limited, Norman Brown, said to them that the work on the Beverly Hills property began around about 2020 thereabouts. When you look at the information provided in the report by the Commission about the directors of Estate Bridge Holdings and when they were appointed, two of them, C.J. Anderson and Norman Brown himself, were appointed July 22, 2020, and the third one, Adam Holness, was appointed March 29, 2021. In your mind, could the transfer of the property from Imperium Holdings Limited, which is, there's no contest that is a company linked to the Prime Minister, did that transfer of shares from Imperial Holdings Limited into Estate Bridge, did it happen before construction start on the Beverly Hills property, sufficient for the Integrity Commission to justifiably claim that this Estate Bridge was still under the hand of Andrew Holness at the point when construction began?
Excellent question, George. And I believe the gentleman who describes himself, certainly based on this Integrity Commission report, as a supervisor or someone who has superintendence over this project, would be well placed to answer, that being Norman Brown. I couldn't say definitively at what point the construction would have commenced. What I am placing on the table, and I trust your listeners will appreciate it, or your viewers rather will appreciate this, that at the juncture at which the Integrity Commission, by way of its Director of Investigation, would have attended upon this construction site, breaches according to the Integrity Commission would have been identified. This entity, Estate Bridge, has not, the Prime Minister that is, has nothing to do with this particular entity.
But stick with the point a little bit, Marlon. Stick with the point a little bit, because again, material time, that phrase is critical here. Is material time, based on your understanding, is material time when construction would have begun at the Beverly Hills property, or is material time when the IC began its probe?
I would want to believe that both time periods are important, but what is of particular moment in my view would be when the IC, pursuant to its mandate, would have gone in and would have determined in its view, because it is not a view that other people concur with, certainly Norman Brown and others do not share that view. In the Integrity Commission's view, it would have detected or observed breaches because it saw structures that it considers to be rooms, bedrooms, whereas what is being asserted by Norman Brown and indeed his attorney, Simone Mayhew, King's Counsel, are that these other rooms or these other habitable spaces are essentially a multi-purpose room, and part of it is a basement in addition to the 2 bedrooms. So for me, and I want to take you upon something you mentioned earlier, George, the basis on which the Integrity Commission was triggered here, because a member of the public, I presume, would have caused, in terms of a complaint, to this investigation to have ensued. But importantly, in the report of the IC, it situates in the text of the report an allegation that was brought to its attention, which I think has the effect of maligning the Prime Minister. And it is unfortunate because not every aspect of an accusation or an allegation that may be waged against a subject of an investigation or a public figure, you should situate it in a report because you have no basis on which to corroborate that.
Hear you on that. Hold the point right there. We're going to come back and tidy this up. I'm speaking with Marlon Morgan, a member of the JLP's Communications Task Force, talking about this Integrity Commission report and the way, I almost said caricature, the way it has positioned the Prime Minister in terms of his connection to a company that the IC says, was building a development in Beverly Hills in breach of the rules. More on Lead Story after this.
Truth is, HIV affects everyone. Truth is, avoiding care leads to a weaker immune system. That means you could get really sick. The truth is, the hardest pill to swallow isn't the medication. It's the problems that follow when you don't take them. Let's get through this together. Remain in care. You can live life to the fullest with HIV. And that's the truth. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Hi, T. I'm IT.
This is mine?
I want that to the big ladder road.
Where's the sleigh?
Good morning. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Tamaiti Christmas in the Streets is brought to you by Flow, unwrapping holiday happiness. That's Christmasing.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. Marlon Morgan, the JLP's Communications Task Force spokesman, is with me. I can tell the viewers that we've tried to get through to representatives from the opposition PNP for comment. We haven't managed to get anybody just yet. We spoke to the General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell, who said he would get back to us, but at the time we had to come to air, we had not gotten that confirmation from him just yet. Just to underline one point here, based on something that Marlon Morgan said before the break, viewers. Remember, page 6 of the 63-page report speaks to the premise on which the Integrity Commission proceeded to undertake this investigation. It said it got reports that Holness himself was developing property in breach of the rules and that Holness was using the services of his architect to draw one blueprint that would be sent to the KSAC. However, the building would actually be done under a second blueprint that would be used for the actual construction, and that this was done at one of his developments in Beverly Hills Cherry Garden. Nothing in the 63-page report speaks to that. So that investigation didn't pan out, but the Integrity Commission says it found other things which were of concern. The other thing which was of concern, of course, was whether or not the property at Wycliffe Close in Beverly Hills was being built in accordance with the rules. So here's the thing that, yes, sir.
George,
yes.
What I'm saying, just before you come to the question you're moving on to, I just wanted to be very clear to the viewers that the fact that the Integrity Commission, which is supposed to hold itself to a higher standard than a whistleblower who is just sharing, it could be innuendo, it could be just some baseless accusations. When you're going to write a report that is going to be tabled in the Parliament, you have to hold yourself to a greater level of responsibility and consciousness, and not just situate in the report, in the text, views and allegations that are very salacious in nature and may have the effect of diminishing a person in the estimation.
So which is the salacious? Which is the salacious claim? The one I just read.
This is about architect. They are effectively suggesting something that is very underhanded, because if a person comes in with a complaint that George is constructing an apartment complex and he's not just breaching the permits for constructing the apartment, but he's going to be using the apartment to traffic sex workers from Eastern Europe as part of a human trafficking ring. That is very damaging and injurious to George Davis.
What I would say to you, though, Mr. Morgan, is that I can see that you don't like that aspect of the report. But in my view, I have no problem with that, because I would want to know, from the perspective of the Integrity Commission, what is it that specifically led it to undertake the investigation? And
excellent point, George.
To be fair to the Integrity Commission, yes, but to be fair to the
you don't place the salacious and raw, unbridled observation of a member of the public.
I would agree with you that it was salacious if it is that it can be proven that the Integrity Commission added something according to what was reported to it. But if the Integrity Commission says this is specifically what was said to it, then I'm saying to you, I don't see a problem or the injury with saying what is it that caused you to go on an investigative trail in the first place, because, again, the report does not say that anything relating to the original allegations were borne out. Because what the report is, it has spawned something new, because the original premise was not substantiated by the investigations. I say this to you, though, Mr. Morgan, that where Holness is concerned, and the fact of the juxtaposition of his interest in this matter for a company, with a company rather, that the commission in the same report has said that a company he owned was a former shareholder in Estate Bridge. Does the JLP believe that the Integrity Commission is reaching to hold on to the Prime Minister and to mix him in this thing? Is that a genuine position that the party is having right now? It feels that the Commission is being very deliberate in trying to pull the Prime Minister into this matter.
George, my answer is emphatically in the affirmative, in that the Jamaica Labour Party and indeed other members, other well-thinking members of Jamaican society concur and hold that particular view. Because I have had calls and WhatsApp messages coming into my device today to that effect. Because if you think about it, when you undertake an investigation, there is the substance of the matter. And what we're seeing in terms of the written report is something that is designed for effect, as we saw some months ago with the illicit, the quote-unquote illicit enrichment report. So no finding, for example, in that investigation came to suggest impropriety or that the Prime Minister illicitly enriched himself. There was nothing established, notwithstanding the services of an international accounting examiner, right? But you had all kinds of salacious and juicy editorializing in the comment, in the text of the report that has the effect, as we're seeing here now, of lowering and diminishing the Prime Minister in the estimation of well-thinking Jamaicans. And I'm saying the Integrity Commission ought to operate with a degree of professionalism and probity such that they can inspire confidence, not just amongst Labourites, but amongst comrades as well, and persons who don't care for the political parties.
Let me challenge that. Let me challenge that, Marlon Morgan, because again, in this report, the commission set out its premise for investigating. You have a problem with them setting it out in that way. I'm saying I have no problem.
Can't place everything on paper.
But hold on. So again, it's dueling opinions, Marlon Morgan. You have the view that something was wrong with that. I'm saying I don't. So hold it then. It's a draw on that. Hold on. Then, as the report goes on, the report seeks to make a connection between Andrew Holness and Estate Bridge. In many people's views, the relationship is not nailed down, but some people have cause to question, But in the concluding part of the report, the Commission does not say that Holness infracted in any way. Neither did the report say that the Integrity Commission questioned Mr. Holness about the issue. So I'm saying, on the balance of probabilities, reading the report, looking at the premise, which may be uncomfortable for the Prime Minister, but I don't see anything wrong with them setting out the premise, and the details of the investigation and the concluding section of the report, where is the proof? We're talking about nailing down proof. You have said that the Integrity Commission has not nailed down the Prime Minister's relationship with Estate Bridge. How can the JLP nail down that the Prime Minister is being targeted when the conclusion of the report makes no claim against Andrew Holness?
As we have seen in subsequent reportage across media, where inaccurately media houses last evening, for example, in fact, one of the media houses that the Prime Minister's lawyer has since written to this evening or earlier this afternoon, we have seen where their report intimated or spelled out that Prime Minister, a company owned by the Prime Minister, has been involved in, construction breaches and whatnot. That is very damaging, and that is unfortunate.
But you can't blame Marlon Morgan. You can't blame the. You can't blame the Integrity Commission for media houses misinterpreting what is on paper.
I'm coming back to the IC, because just to be clear, when a complaint from a member of the public comes into you and then you embark on an investigation. For what reason would you cite in the report that the Prime Minister is one of the individuals pertinent to the investigation, especially in circumstances where you, by virtue of your own ferreting out of facts, would have found no reason to be interviewing the Prime Minister or engaging him under judges' rules or requisitioning him otherwise in these proceedings? It just goes to show that it was a stretch, it was a reach, and many persons, myself included, are of the view that it may well have been designed to have a particular effect, which is to essentially embroil the Prime Minister in something where, for all intents and purposes, the breaches that may have been perpetrated by this entity, Estate Bridge, which some persons diverge in terms of their view on that matter, that those breaches were essentially undertaken and that the Prime Minister was associated with a company that did so. And that is not borne out by the facts. The gentleman is not a shareholder, he's not a director of the outfit, and it is ridiculous in our view for it to have been positioned and framed in that way. Because it diminishes the Prime Minister's standing in Jamaican society.
Hear you on that this evening, Mr. Morgan. Thank you very much for your time. I always appreciate your company.
All the best, George. All the best to your listeners.
Marlon Morgan, for our JLP Communications Task Force spokesman. You know, the thing is this. It is unfortunate, the sequence of events which have led us to this point. The most senior and influential politician in the country, the Prime Minister, and the Premier Anti-Corruption Agency, which Marlon Morgan correctly said, the act giving them life passed by this administration led by this Prime Minister, yes, and, well, the previous administration he led 2017, but the funding and everything, the support, those are facts. But now, the Prime Minister and the Premier Anti-Corruption Organization in the country are at daggers drawn. There is a clear issue where the Integrity Commission postures one way and the Prime Minister in response is taking up an offensive posture in this regard. That is unhealthy for the democracy. Which side does facts lie on? I'm saying today that having read this report, I think the Integrity Commission has several questions to answer because there are too many gaps to fill out. I want the Integrity Commission to nail down precisely why it said the report concerns the Prime Minister when in its own reportage in the report, its own writing, it said that Estate Bridge Holdings Limited, the company at the center of this thing, was formerly owned by the Prime Minister. That for me is problematic. And then of course there are other questions about the information given to the Integrity Commission by the contractors and the shareholders and all that. That's a separate issue. But the sideshow of the Prime Minister's involvement is what we've been fixated on because the Integrity Commission mentioned the Prime Minister prominently without, I believe, nailing down the basis for referencing the Prime Minister. That's a serious gap that Seymour Panton and company need to establish. There are many more questions and answers, and it may need 63 more pages to establish all of those facts. That's my time. I make way for Nika Lewis now with the news at 7.
Are you ready to spice up your kitchen? Tune in to CVM Cookshop Wednesdays at 8 p.m., the show where flavor takes center stage. We're bringing you simple, bold recipes that are as fun to make as they are to eat. Join me, TK, for easy, exciting meals that'll have everybody asking for seconds. Get ready for dishes that'll wow your guests and desserts that hit the sweet spot. Catch CVM Cookshop, where every meal is a masterpiece.
Where the difference is made. Where titles are decided. Where respect is earned. Excel here and you could go down in history.
Experience independent living. Visit us today.
Hi, T. I'm IT.
This is mine?
I want to do the big letter road.
Where's the sleigh?
Good morning. You've never seen a sunrise quite like this.
Tamaiti Christmas in the Streets is brought to you by Flow, unwrapping holiday happiness. That's Christmasing.
Get Sagicor School Companion Health Plan for as little as $2,540 per month. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock. CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Finance Minister says no missing funds relating to unaccounted for $3 trillion. Estate Bridge in IC crosshairs. And Mia Mottley rallies regional support for energy revolution. In the business report, the road ahead for Trans-Jam highways. Also this evening, we have Living the Life with Curlin Brown. While in sports, we take you live to the launch of the CASAFA Championship.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
I wish I could reduce my electricity bills.
I wish I could live more sustainably.
Get a Sagicor Bank mortgage from November 11, 2024 to January 31, 2025, and you could be a lucky winner in the Sagicor Bank Mortgage Green Wish promotion. There are 3 grand prizes of energy-saving appliances to be won. Get a Sagicor Bank mortgage and make your green wish come true. Visit Sagicor.com. Conditions apply. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of...
Your love lives on with life insurance from Sagicor.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this Wednesday, December 11, 2024. Thanks for making it CVM News at 7. I'm Nika Lewis. The Integrity Commission, IC, and Estate Bridge Holdings Limited are now at odds over a Beverly Hills development linked to Prime Minister Andrew Holness and his business associate Norman Brown. The IC has alleged major breaches in building permits, but Estate Bridge has categorically denied the claims, calling them baseless and misinformed. Ramon Gordon has the details.
The Integrity Commission's report, tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, accuses Estate Bridge Holdings Limited of violating planning approvals in its construction of townhouses in Beverly Hills, Kingston. Director of Investigations Kevon Stevenson highlighted that while the KSAMC approved plans for 4 two-bedroom units, inspections revealed the construction of 4 four-bedroom townhouses. The IC criticized the KSAMC for failing to enforce compliance with the approved terms and conditions of the permit. Norman Brown, a director of Estate Bridge and close associate of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, reportedly submitted a document in December 2023 confirming details that aligned with the IC's findings. The report concluded that the breaches were deliberate, holding Estate Bridge directors accountable. However, in a strongly worded statement, Estate Bridge rejected the findings. The company claims the KSAMC conducted several inspections and found no breaches in room count. The company further questioned the timing of the report's tabling, suggesting it was an attempt to undermine Norman Brown as he pursues judicial review in the Supreme Court to challenge adverse findings from a separate IC investigation. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, for his part, reiterated that he has no current involvement with Estate Bridge as a director or shareholder and does not own the property in question. He criticized the IC for allegedly ignoring key statements from KSAMC inspectors, who found the development structurally compliant during their inspections. The KSAMC, facing criticism, has said it's reviewing the findings. The municipal body plans to convene a meeting with relevant stakeholders to address the recommendations. Meanwhile, the Integrity Commission's report also implicated estate bridge contractor Pinado Nesbeth, accusing him of knowingly deviating from approved plans. The Integrity Commission's report has reignited debate over governance and regulatory oversight, even as the Prime Minister's legal team readies their own challenge in the Supreme Court. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
And as the Prime Minister denies any wrongdoing, political commentators say investigations into the matter must continue. Courtney Lewis picks up that story. The Prime Minister is again at the center of controversy as a property linked to PM Holness was found to be in breach of the KSAMC-approved building permit. The Integrity Commission tabled its findings in Parliament on Tuesday amid the IC's continued investigation into the Prime Minister's statutory declarations. The Prime Minister has, however, denied any claims of wrongdoing, suggesting the Integrity Commission is on a witch hunt. Political commentators are reacting to the findings, noting the PM is subject to scrutiny as country leader.
I'm also interested to see how the matter will be dealt with, because you're talking about one of our primary lawmaker, the head of government, chief legislature, who would have been responsible for, approving, so to speak.
Some argue the PM's claim of being targeted by the Commission may set a bad precedent in a highly politicized climate.
For him to continue to use this, what I call bait, about being targeted, it is perhaps not, to me, the most right thing to do. It sends what we call red meat to his supporters in the Jamaica Labour Party, who will then target the Integrity Commission.
The recommendation for further investigation by the KSAMC is also welcomed.
The KSAMC must carry out the necessary investigation so that we, the citizens, are very, very well informed as to the process and to see whether these processes were breached or not.
The Prime Minister is caught within a trap, and it means to me that he will have to be careful how he proceeds, so as not to give the impression that he feels that he should be above the law.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Motley is championing a transformative approach to regional development. Speaking in Jamaica Tuesday, she made a strong case for what she believes is the key to unlocking the Caribbean's potential. With more, here's Ramon Gordon, who was at the event.
Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley is calling for stronger Caribbean unity to unlock the region's renewable energy potential. That, as she describes it, as the most important aspect of economic development yet to be addressed by CARICOM.
I believe that the region can no longer pursue this independently, country by country, looking and hoping to capture the attention of a small company here, or a small thing there, or a small thing there. But that there is power in having the audit done, which I've asked the International Financial Corporation to undertake for us, as to what is truly the renewable energy potential of the Caribbean community.
Mottley spoke Tuesday at a lecture honoring the 100th birthday of Jamaica's fourth Prime Minister Michael Manley. She called for a unified regional energy agreement to combine resources and strengthen global negotiating power.
This can be done without compromising the integrity of individual investments in each territory, but it will require a mindset change that is recognizing that only in solidarity will we command the power and capacity in this new world that is unfolding. We don't know what it will look like. Only in coming together will we give ourselves the best possible chance to fight not only the climate crisis, but the international economic instability that is coming as a result of the many other polycrises.
In May, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz stressed the urgency of transitioning to renewable energy, warning that the cost of inaction is too grave to ignore. with at least 90% of Jamaica's energy needs met by imported fossil fuels. The government aims to generate 50% of electricity from renewables by 2030. On climate change, Mottley calls for fairness, urging the world's largest carbon polluters to take responsibility, even as the U.S., a powerful Caribbean neighbor, re-elects a leader pushing for increased oil production and reduced industry regulations.
I'm not trying to school the president-elect, but I'm conscious that while we may disagree as to the causes of the climate, we cannot disagree as to the reality of disaster.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Now, the finance minister is rejecting allegations of missing funds across various ministries, but acknowledges delays in submitting appropriation accounts. Britannia Witter tells us more.
The Minister of Finance, Favour Williams, has addressed concerns regarding $3 trillion in spending that is unaccounted for over a 6 to 11-year period. The concerns follow a review by the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, JAMP, of the Auditor General's annual report for 16 government agencies, including several ministries. Speaking at Tuesday's media briefing, Minister Williams clarified that the money is not missing, but remains unaccounted for due to delays in the submission of accounts to the Auditor General's office.
It is not that the money is missing. It is that reports due to the Auditor General have not been submitted by several ministries.
The Auditor General's office, tasked with reviewing government spending, requires several ministries and agencies to submit their appropriation accounts after the end of the fiscal year. These accounts detail ministries' expenditures compared to the amount approved by Parliament. Minister Williams further assured the public that work is being done to ensure compliance with submitting the accounts in a timely manner.
The goal, of course, is to get to that place where these appropriations accounts are done in a timely manner and submitted within 4 months, I believe, FS, after the close of the fiscal year.
She concluded by urging ministries to work with the government to resolve the issue. Britannia Witter, CVM News.
Do stay with us. CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Win a bag of things valued at over $400,000 with Digicel. When you gift your loved ones a 7-day plan for just $1,100 in My Digicel, share one more gift, one more moment, one more smile. Digicel, better connected this Christmas.
It's been 3 years.
Come on, D. I have it. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Them feeding you over there though? Your favorite. Welcome home, son.
This is home.
Thanks so much for staying with us. We continue the news. The Jamaica Constabulary Force now has additional resources after the country's partners from Japan gifted the force over 20 new trucks. The JCF has since expressed gratitude for the donation while sharing how the new vehicles will be used in coming weeks. Trisha Gale has that story.
27 new pickup trucks for the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, vehicles that are expected to contribute to the fulfillment of the force's commitment to serve and protect. On Tuesday, the vehicles were presented to the force at a handing over ceremony at the Office of the Commissioner of Police. Staff Officer Deputy Commissioner of Police Karina Powell-Hood, representing Commissioner Kevin Blake, says this addition to the fleet represents more than just extra resources.
It is an investment in the effectiveness of our operations, the mobility of our officers, and the safety of our communities. These vehicles will greatly enhance our capacity to respond promptly to emergencies, conduct patrols in challenging terrains, and you'll see why when you look at them, and support our broader crime prevention and community policing strategies.
What many citizens are labeling as safari vehicles are actually Toyota Land Cruiser pickup trucks, gifts from Jamaica's long-standing partners, Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA. Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Ambassador-designate to Brazil Sharon Miller says the great nation known for manufacturing vehicles has been a constant source of support to Jamaica.
Japan's commitment to supporting this key area of Jamaica's development agenda is unquestionable. For the last 2 years, the governments of Japan and Brazil have been involved in a tripartite technical cooperation project with Jamaica entitled Capacity Building in Community Project Policing, COBAN module, which is aimed at strengthening cooperation in community policing in Jamaica.
This donation is a part of the bigger picture for the JCF, according to National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang. He says the force continues to seek ways to enhance the service aspects of its mandates to the public.
These vehicles, of course, are critical at this point in time. The Jamaica Constabulary Force has gone through an entire process of transformation. Transformation not in terms of changing the police officers, but in terms of the institutional changes to make it a stronger, more effective force, a powerful force for good in dealing with all elements of the criminal activity in Jamaica.
The JCF is also anticipating the addition of 5 ambulances, which will be gifted to them in the near future. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
Over to the east, a week after the JUTC launched 2 routes in St. Thomas, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz and a team toured the parish to assess the impact of the service. Adrian Williams rolls out more details in this review.
East has waited 160 years for development like this, and we say thank you.
The once dubbed Forgotten Parish of St. Thomas has been given a boost with the introduction of the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC bus services. Minister of Transport Darrell Vaz, along with members of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, SMC and the police, toured sections of the JUTC routes Tuesday.
I can say that the report that I have for the first week of operations, 5 days to be exact, is that there was over 5,000 persons that use the JUTC buses, which is remarkable. The one to Yalas was almost 3,000, and the one to Morant Bay was almost a little over 2,000. So, and that's just a start.
With heavy promotion to move to a cashless system using smarter cards, the bus system is expected to become even more widely used as time progresses, and Vaz believes there are enough commuters for both the JUTC and the taxi operators to flourish.
You will never, obviously, once you have competition, people will never be happy. But the fact of the matter is what I'm seeing here is that there's more than enough passenger flow to satisfy both the taxis, both the public transportation and the JUTC, and we just have to integrate to make sure that we offer the best services for the citizens of St. Thomas and, of course, the country at large.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Western St. Thomas, James Robertson, welcomes the bus system rollout, adding it's an important piece of the puzzle for a productive nation.
There is no development, there is no growth unless you have proper services, a utility arrived at, earned by the people through transportation. We need to have thousands of people, young people going to school, to education in a reliable manner.
Adrian Williams reporting for CVM News.
Well, healthcare in Greater Portmore is getting a major boost as the Ministry of Health breaks ground on a multi-million dollar transformation of its health centre. The upgrade will elevate the facility to a Type 5 comprehensive centre, promising cutting-edge services and a brighter future for local healthcare. Shante McNeil reports.
Great things are happening in Greater Portmore as the Ministry of Health breaks ground and signs on a major upgrade to its health centre. The $660 million transformation will elevate the facility from a Type 3 to a Type 5 comprehensive health centre, thanks to funding from the European Union's US $11 million Health System Strengthening Programme, HSSP. The expanded facility will feature several services like
laboratory services, isolation rooms, procedure, treatment and examination rooms, and diagnostic services such as X-ray and dental imaging equipment. I must state, based on our stakeholders' consultation, one of our greatest requests from the stakeholders, from community, is that Portmore does not have a lab. Laboratory services offered at this facility. So in our design, we ensure that we are actually including this.
The new 1,259 square meter building, expected to be completed by early 2026, will also house improved administrative areas, including offices, training rooms, a conference room, staff lounge, nurses station, and lunch areas. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton shared that even more improvements can be expected for other parishes in the coming months.
Hoping with our collaborators to announce major expansions in the parish of St. Anne, both health centre and hospital, major expansion in the parish of Clarendon, both health centre and hospital, and I don't need to tell you what is going on at Cornwall with Western Child and Cornwall Regional Day.
He's encouraging students to pursue health-related careers, noting that the ministry will be issuing scholarships in related fields at the University of the West Indies upcoming Career Expo next month. The minister notes in his mission to improve the health system, the recipients will also be bonded for a period of time.
It's not just about the doctor and the nurse. It's about the biotech engineer. It's about the pharmacist. It's about a number of skill sets that are critical to making the system work. And we're going to be putting those on display. We're going to bring in the sixth formers. We're going to invite the public to come, see what is on display, and to the extent that they qualify or can become qualified to train in these areas, we will support them where they qualify with scholarships. That means they are bonded back into the system, by the way.
This is the final in a series of 3 groundbreaking ceremonies in St. Catherine in the past 2 months. Together with a 6-story facility under construction at Spanish Town Hospital, the upgrades at St. Jago Park and Old Harbours Health Centres push the investments in St. Catherine to $10 billion under the HSSP. Shante McNeil, CVM News.
There's more CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
VoiceBox Performing Arts invites you and your entire family
to be a part of Our Christmas Wish, a festive experience featuring the VoiceBox Kids and our special guest, Uncle Kevin Donswell, and a few other big surprises.
Join us on Sunday, December 15th at 7 p.m. at the Carl Hendrickson Auditorium, Jamaica College. Gates open at 6 p.m. Tickets are for $3,500 for adults
and $2,000 for picnic.
Get them now at La Shushan and Copycat Barbican or email us at voicebox876@gmail.com.
Our Christmas Wish is sponsored by CVM TV, the Digital Foundation, Island Grill, JPS, TST, Edna Manley College, Starlight, and AV Montage Limited. See you there!
The following tip is brought to you by
Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
Use security cameras to secure your home. Outdoor cameras will discern friend or foe, and it is a visual cue to the burglar that you are monitoring the property. The preceding tip was brought to you by
Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
Welcome back. Continuing now to our weekly feature, Living the Life, we have the number of children who are reported missing continuing to be a worrisome matter. In this week's Living the Life story, Curlin Brown cans through a chapter of the personal account of a centenarian who documented the day her little boy could not be accounted for.
Living the life defies time and laws. The anxiety of growing old, knowing like your parents, you too are gradually becoming a senior. The sentiments about accepting aging gracefully is an inevitable discourse, a privileged family treasure. This matriarch, Lily Jane Long, nearing 101 years old, is still finding new ways of doing old things, like reading out loud from a book she penned of her personal experiences. No longer memoirs, though, for her generations, as the secret is out.
God moves in mysterious ways.
That is an interesting one. So,
verily thou art, O God.
Yes.
Thou art a God that hidest thyself, O God of Israel, the Savior.
And it says, oftentimes what seems to be obstacles in our lives are merely stepping stones to progress.
God continues to work miracles in our lives from day to day. All we need to do is to trust Him. The following are some of the many miracles God has performed in my life, for which I am truly grateful. These little stories are proof of the mysterious ways in which God moves.
Tell me one of them. Tell me
many of them. Well, one of them, my son goes missing.
Tell me about that one.
Where is Wayne?
Where is Wayne? By the way, Wayne is here?
Yeah.
Yes. Wayne, where art thou?
I'm right here.
Today, Wayne takes pride in serving his mother her broth before lunch. His story created quite a buzz, similar to many cases making the news these days.
Our family was living in Brownstown, St. Anne, and we decided to visit a friend in Montego Bay, St. James. Having arrived at the house of our friend, we were welcomed and made comfortable with refreshments and greetings. As is customary, everyone became engrossed in pleasant conversations, and so time went by. Suddenly, out of the blue, a voice said in my head, "Where is Wayne?" Wayne was the youngest of the family members on the visit and was then about 2 years old.
The toddler was nowhere in sight. They searched the grounds, including inside an old pit latrine, before taking to the streets.
Away in the distance and approaching a brow beyond which one would not be able to see, we spotted the form of a person which appeared to be a man leading a small child. We ran speedily to catch up with the form, which, as we had suspected, turned out to be a man, and to our great relief, the child being led turned out to be Wayne. What great joy there was. The voice that asked the question early had to have been the voice of the Lord Jehovah, as we had not at all missed the child, and had we delayed in taking action, we would never have found Wayne. Just like that, we would have lost our precious child. Apparently, Wayne had stepped out into the yard, then into the street, and could not find his way back into the right house. The man had found him wandering and was trying, he said, to help him find the right house which his parents were staying. God protected Wayne and answered my cry for help to find him. Cast all your anxieties on him because he cares for you.
For Living the Life, I am Curlin Brown for CVM News. Living the Life.
We take another break. Stay with us.
Christmas is the season to share with the delicious Hut's holiday treat from Pizza Hut. One large pepperoni, Hawaiian, vegetarian, or barbecue chicken pizza. One family serving of cinnamon sticks, cheese sticks, or breadsticks, and a 2-liter Pepsi. Share the joy with a Hut's holiday treat from Pizza Hut. Now that's delivering.
Crunch the holidays, however you want. KFC, it's finger-licking good. The time by KFC is...
At Hypro, farming is in our DNA. So we know the value of all you do. Whether you're an experienced farmer, the farmer just starting out, or the farmer looking to shake things up, we're supportive and understanding of your needs, adapting to whichever path your ambition and innovation leads. And we're experienced enough to guide when needed. We're here to support you at every step, providing high-quality feeds, chicks, farm supplies, and technical support. That's why Hypro is here to make it easier on farmers. Hypro, let's get it done together.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crossgill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today, from a journey 4 years in the making, as what was formerly called Highway 2000 East-West saw the rollout of a rebranding launch as smooth as the toll road's asphalt surface, in switching lanes to its new identity as Transjam Highways. Group CEO Ivan Anderson signposted the new brand's vision as well as current and future upgrades to operations, identifying the significance of the occasion and the landmarks that have been passed along the way.
As we unveil our new brand identity, it's important to reflect on the incredible journey that has brought us to this point. Today, we celebrate more than just a name change. We celebrate a transformation in our operations. The rebranding of our network from Highway 2000 East-West to Transjam Highways, as I said, it's more than just a change in its appearance. It represents our new strategic direction with the support of our Jamaican ownership. Prior to 2019, Trans-Jamaica was owned by 2 large French contractors, the World Bank and another multilateral bank. Today, Trans-Jamaica is owned by who?
As at today, the answer is approximately 30,000 shareholders who last year alone received approximately $2 billion in dividends, a clear sign of the support and success the toll operators have enjoyed.
In 2019, when we were owned by the French companies and when we were owned by the large multilateral banks, we made a profit of approximately $8 million US. That was then. Last year, we made a profit of 23 million US. Last year, more than 27 million trips were done on our network. 27 million. That's about, 10 times the size of the population of Jamaica using our highway for the year.
Interestingly, operating expenses are also 18% less than in 2019, totaling US $16.7 million over the first 9 months of 2024. However, it is the plethora of payment options either currently on offer or soon to be rolled out that may spur the company on towards its long-haul aspiration of establishing itself as the pace-setter among